Is that true from your perspective? Can you live without transcriptions?
You don't have to write everything manually because probably you're going to forget.
That's the key feature of this tool, that it gives you a good summary.
And I realized that sometimes AI is making mistakes.
Okay, I fully agree with you. Action. Welcome to another episode of Dialing Out, the OB2B podcast. My co-host, co-correspondent today will once again be Ana Maria, our business development strategist.
Exactly, this is me.
And our today's topic is another tool we are keen of using lately for the past year and a half or even 2. I don't know.
For a long time now.
It's for sure
been a while.
Year and a half, right?
Yeah.
Maybe even 2, as I always said.
Since we are not that good with numbers.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I, as always, have a little preparation for today. And today's episode's title is AI Meeting Transcripts, the sales tools we can't live without. Is that true from your perspective? Can you live without transcriptions?
I can, but it helps a lot.
Yeah. It definitely is a tool that a lot of people in sales are using, and there are different tools on the market and everybody thinks they have the best one. We have tested a couple of them and stick to one for now, but we're not going to do any recommendations in regards of the tool. But if you Google it, you'll find various tools, and I think a lot of them are really, really nice tools and good to have. But what I really wanted to discuss today with you is why it became a game changer and why we can't live without it, or how it makes our life easier in everyday sales. There are a couple of aspects that we definitely think, okay, this has helped. I think it's always just a problem of getting used to a tool and starting to use it well. That's a thing.
That's always a thing with any tool, I would say.
Yeah.
But especially in the past year or past 2 years, where AI took over a lot of tools and created a lot of softwares that can help you not only in sales, but also in other areas of maybe your professional work. But it's always a thing when you are implementing something new, you have to have some kind of a adapting period of time to get used to it. Not only that, but to see the real benefits that you can take out of that. That was the same situation with this tool that we are talking about today. So it takes time to see, okay, this is working well. This is helpful in some ways that we are going to discuss about today. So the time is always one criteria that you need to think of when implementing such a tool.
Yeah. And it's really, when you implement a tool like this, you can instantly see results. But a lot of people, like with other tools, they see the results, they have everything in place, but they definitely do not use it to their advantage in the end. And I think something we should talk about today, about the efficiency of that tool. It's not just the way it transcribes your sales meeting or your internal meetings. Yeah. It's the way you use the data afterwards.
Of course, yeah. I mean, the most obvious benefit out of this kind of a tool is time saving. You don't have to write everything manually because probably you're going to forget. I don't know, but perhaps in Teams or Google Zoom or everywhere you can do a recording. But you have a recording and you have to listen to it again and maybe write again by your hand into your notebook or on your computer just to emphasize or create some kind of a summary. So the point is, using that kind of a tool, it gives you a summary. So it depends on how this summary is created, what kind of things are inside, and what you are going to use out of that.
Yeah, I think that's the key feature of this tool, that it gives you a good summary where you have not only just summarize what you've been talking about, but just getting an overview of the tasks that you have.
Yeah.
And this is, for me, one of the most important things after recording a meeting, to remind myself, oh, okay, I have to do this follow-up email. I promised to do another research or whatever the tool has captured or whatever we spoke about. It gives me a little reflection of what I actually have as another action point after the meeting.
Exactly.
So it gives you a really exact and fast follow-up speed that you can have after this. Okay, you're like, okay, good. There it is. I can get back to it. Or maybe it's really something urgent. Let me just do it right away. Because sometimes we just forget to do stuff. Or if you have a transcript, are you really going to read the whole transcript? Of course not. Of course not, yeah. But the transcript is another feature which is really interesting to have, especially if you want to remember the exact words somebody told you, or some really nice expression you find very good for implementing it afterwards in your sales process, into a pitch or into an email or something like this. So this is another thing.
I'm using that mostly when you have a long call. For example, you have also really long meetings. So it's really hard to, after the meeting, to emphasize everything in your head. It helps you have an overview, have a summary of everything, and to divide tasks. Who needs to do this, who needs to do that, and it's quite easy. But it's also from my side too, when I have a really long meeting, and it's usually before a new project starts, we have a setup call. It's usually more than a 1 hour duration of that call. You cannot remember really everything, every detail. So the summary helps here to set up tasks for everybody, but also to reflect on some things that were really, really important. You have to go back to that. So I find it really helpful to just click on something you want to hear. So you don't have to listen and search for an exact moment. You have everything inside. Do you want it written? You have it. Do you want it to see something because somebody shared the screen? You can see that. So I like that different types of features that this tool provides. So you can implement that in your sales process. You can copy things, for example, to import in your CRM, just like a follow-up transcription, or what new task needs to be done, and so on. So I would say for anybody that would use this kind of a tool, there's multiple ways that you can enrich your process later on. So quite useful. I think for the sales world, a good thing.
And not only for sales, as being some kind of reminder for you what to do, or being a very, very reliable tool on searching into something that's already taped on video. Especially what you just mentioned with the minutes, and where you can really exactly find it by the segmentation, the capturing of a video is really important there. So you just have like captures of everything. But especially those captures can be very interesting when you need to do an onboarding of new people. So when you tape a onboarding meeting, and after several months you have a new employee who needs to go through the process as well, then this is really some kind of really good sales book and database for somebody new to learn.
Sometimes you will have same process. One good example could be we started a new project with a client, and after a few months, we decided together to add another person to this project. So this person already has a knowledge base, and a lot of that comes from a note taker, from something that is written in, I don't know, Word or PDF file. We have a video. We have everything written. We have like a sales book made out of this tool, which is perfect. And it's, as I said at the beginning, it's time saving. You don't have to write everything manually. You don't have to create anything manually. But it's really, really, really important to see what it has done. You don't have to just, okay, download, save, and everything else. You have to read it through to see if everything inside is all right, because sometimes it is true AI is making mistakes, and you have to,
of course, but
you have to cross-check that.
But I would say in the past year, it has been much better than at the beginning when we tested it for the first time. It has become more sophisticated, and it has obviously learned from all the data that it collected. Sometimes it's like a language barrier.
Sometimes
I think that like for German and English, it's a really good transcript all the time or most of the time. But
it is.
Let's say for Croatian, sometimes it has some issues.
It has. I actually have a really good example.
Okay.
Because all of my projects, we are sometimes speaking English, we are sometimes speaking German, and sometimes we are speaking Croatian. So it's quite interesting to see how AI developed through months and years. I would say, for example, 1 year ago, the transcription from Croatian based meeting would not be that good. But yesterday, actually, I created one summary from a meeting, and the summary was pretty good. It was just minor mistakes, but the whole thing was pretty good. So the summary of what we talked about, what the tasks are, which tasks we need to do, who is in charge of which tasks, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit better, of course, with English and German, because they're widely used languages, so it's quite common to see that.
Okay, there is another really important or interesting feature, if not so important for everybody, but really interesting. That's some kind of data analysis of the meetings. It is interesting for me and that matter to see whether when I had a sales meeting where we needed to pitch some of our services, then it's really nice for me to see how big the rate is between me speaking, my colleague speaking, and the other person who is a potential buyer. How much did he say, or what questions did he or she ask? And there is always some kind of sentiment analysis, which is sometimes really not something where I'd say, yeah, you got that right. I wouldn't interpret it the way AI did, but it's really nice to see that there is another segmentation of that part as well. So I think for sales pitches, this part is quite interesting because you can always see the listed questions, the kind of structure there was in the meeting between the speaker and the one who was asking the question, or the one who is the buying persona and the person who is a salesperson. It's interesting for me to see my analysis, but it's interesting for me as well when my colleague does a meeting without me to just see, hey, let's look into it. Or if you're doing a training with somebody else and they say, hey, I'm not really quite sure if this was a good point I asked them, or if this was a good meeting, can you look into it? Or do you have any other suggestions for another round of meetings in future? So I think this is really something where you just shouldn't be afraid of sharing your data with colleagues or somebody else to just give you another suggestion or another viewpoint.
That's true. That's definitely true. But you reminded me of something when you said that you like to see this analysis.
Yeah.
Who spoke the most, the ratio between your counterparts and so on. I looked at it, for example, a few months ago, and I realized that sometimes AI is making mistakes because it said Ana Maria is speaking. And I can see these are not my words. These are from my counterpart, or my colleague, and so on. So I would say it's not 100% correct.
Okay.
But it might be better at this point. So I think it really takes time for AI also to learn about your tone, about what you are talking about, like a pattern that is every time the same, sometimes different, sometimes the same. So it takes time for also a tool to learn all about you and your process. And with time, it would get better and better and better.
Yeah, and I think this is the biggest mistake or reason why people stop using tools like this, or are not really sure if they have any greater benefit of it, or they're just using it for record tracking, which is fine. It's good to have like track record. But if you're just having a lot of data which is not used and is just somewhere in the cloud and you never go through it, then what's the point of recording all the meetings?
You're
If
just
you don't
paying for
use it,
something that you're not
that's
using.
right. And that's definitely something that I think a lot of people do the same mistakes. They don't feed the AI enough, or they don't look behind it. They don't see the bigger picture there. They're just like, okay, it's recording. It has a transcript. Whenever I look into it, I'm going to look into it. It's not really something that's going to be up to date if you're not into tracking what's it doing, or if you're not prompting it correctly, because all of them have some features you can use for prompting it properly to give you stuff you want to get out of the transcript, because you can have different summaries from one transcript.
Yeah.
Especially if you tell them, hey, I don't want to focus on the sentiment. I'd rather focus on really the important features, the new features that the client was talking about. Let's just give me those features out there, or whatever you want. Because if you're just like okay, it looks fine, but you never use the data and the background, then you will not really be satisfied with it. It's like,
why would you
with every
use
tool.
that? Yeah. Why would you use that?
But to be honest, if you're patient enough, it's going to be its own. It's going to do its own work. It's going to understand you.
Not only that, you definitely have to be patient. But as any other AI tool, for the matters, maybe ChatGPT, everybody's using that. You have to fine tune what you want to get out of that, because if you just let it do it how it usually does, then you're not going to get what you maybe really want to. You have to create like a prompt that fits your needs. That's the same thing with AI tools. For example, this one that we are talking about today, you have to get into it. You have to see what kind of information it's giving and fine tune it in order to have something that you really want.
Mm-hmm. Let me know your best practices from using AI tools for meeting transcripts. What's like the most important thing that you use for, let's say, setting up a new project? Is it that point where you use it most often, or is it rather after the briefings with existing clients that you use that for follow-ups, or maybe both?
Definitely, it's a mixture. The most obvious way, as I said, is after the meeting, where a lot of information is exchanged. When we are learning about the products and when we are learning about the services, it's a lot of information in one place. So in this case, this is definitely somewhere where this AI summary is helping you just to create some kind of points where you can focus later on. So you have to do some things in the meantime. You have some technical things you have to create. You have to create your script. You have to create email templates and so on. So at one place, I'm using that to organize the tasks that our partners needs to do, that my team needs to do, and how to handle that tasks. But also then my team has a benefit out of that, because they don't have to listen everything from the beginning to the end just to extract information. I'm going to provide that from our Notetaker. So they already have like a good preparation, and they can use that in order to create a communication script, in order to create email templates and go back to the things that are really important for them to finish this setup phase.
Yeah.
But also later on, if you are testing some kind of a strategy, you can always go back and see, hey, we started with this one, but we spoke already about some different things. Let me see what we talked about. Maybe I can try some new things, because you have everything is here. Everything is already said. You just need to remind yourself a little bit.
Yeah. The thing is, I think it's really nice when you can just be there and listen to what the customer has to say, and you really focus on him and can, let's say, look him into his eyes, not being with the head down and writing stuff down, because sometimes it kind of can seem a little bit detached and unfriendly. On the other hand, before AI, before tracking tools, we were definitely writing down a lot of stuff.
Of course,
or even just, okay, we did record all the meetings before as well for when we're talking about the onboarding meetings. But in the end, it was always the project managers or the BD strategists' work to sit down, listen to it again, look into your notes, refresh them, and then manually do all the work that is done now. But sometimes I have the feeling that this can be even a little con, because you just focus on listening to them, but don't really listen exactly what they're talking about.
Because you will rely on I don't care. Yeah, I don't have the AI.
Is it a little bit over relying on the AI? What if the transcript disappears and stuff like this? Of
That's
course, sometimes it could be a failure that they don't generate a transcript or whatever. Could happen, or there is a technical issue and you don't have any of it recorded in the end. Sometimes, in that case, if you're over relying on those tools, it can be a bit messy, I think.
I think so, yeah, definitely. If you are having a third meeting in your day, you're not that concentrated, but also you are relying on AI because hey, I'm going to receive my transcripts, I'm going to receive my summary, everything is going to be inside. I don't have to even think, I don't have to even write anything manually. But the truth is, I think that even though we do use that kind of a tool, it's always nice to really write some really, really important things during your meeting. It gives the impression from the sales side that you're really actively listening to your client, that you're paying attention.
Yes.
It's really nice to see that. And not only that, on the paper, you will have few sentences that are the most important.
Maybe sometimes it's really just important to kind of give yourself a little reminder of where you want to look something up or what you want to look up without going to the transcript or the summary in the end again.
Exactly, most definitely. So I would say do not over-rely on your tool. You have to still be here because nobody will take over that human touch.
And the tool won't take over your thoughts, because sometimes you have a thought that might be something brought up in the meeting that inspired you. So you just feel free to still do your thing, not just overly rely on the tool itself. This is kind of a con, or something we should be a little bit aware of before just relying completely on a tool like this. But it definitely is a huge help, and it hasn't really let us down so far. I think we've never had a really big issue of not having a transcript or having something wrongly recorded or something like that. But it could happen. It could really happen.
It could happen. I mean, it happened 1 or 2 times where this Notetaker did not come into a meeting. But,
of course.
But
then he's not in there, and if you don't get in, that you have to do it yourself.
Yeah, it's okay. It's not that a big deal. So, but so far, whenever I was using transcripts or summaries, it was quite good. And sometimes I would even forget for some things, or I would lose a thought, and I would find that thought again in a summary, because I would oh yeah, that was exactly the deal. I wanted to build something around that for the future, so it is quite helpful.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, all those tools have another feature as well. You can do a recording, record it with whatever, using Zoom, Teams, Google, whatever, and download the recording and then upload it again into the software, so it can transcribe it.
That's also true.
Afterwards, or just do it the old school way and write it down yourself. Another, maybe a kind of little con, or maybe something you should also be a little bit aware of, especially in the European or DACH market, is GDPR and being really safe, on the safe side. You prefer at the first as a first point of caution, definitely choose a tool that is reliable, not something you just found somewhere and it's the cheapest tool. Maybe that one, because sometimes, especially on the German-speaking market, they really want to know where the tool is from.
That can be dangerous.
Is that somewhere based in Europe, or is it somewhere outside of Europe? And is it GDPR compliant? We had once a meeting where the customer was really okay with us recording the sales meeting, but he wasn't really okay with using the transcription into the onboarding meeting, because they were kind of afraid that the data is going to leak somewhere.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, because they're really super cautious with their stuff. So sometimes it's really important to just a really very important thing to do is to ask the people if they're fine with being recorded. I happen to have a lot of meetings in the past time where people just invite their note takers into the meeting and they don't even ask if you want to be recorded or not.
Yeah.
It has happened a lot of times when somebody was showing me a new app or something that we signed up for that meeting. To be honest, okay, I wanted to listen about it, but they never asked me if I'm fine with being recorded. They would just like start the recording and
like ignore the whole thing.
And whenever we do something, whenever we do a meeting, we tell them, hey, this is our note taker. If you're not fine with us having them in there, we're just not gonna take
you
him
can
into
always
the
cancel
meeting.
that, and that's okay. Meeting can still be on. But it's a good thing is that you can always see if a note taker is inside a meeting.
Yes.
I think most of those softwares, I like that if they're going to join inside your meeting, you're going to be aware of that. But I would definitely recommend not to use softwares where everything is hidden. So that's really a gray zone. This is against GDPR. If you are really recording something, if you are taking notes, if you are using AI, acknowledge your partners, clients, whoever you are speaking to, that you are going to do that, because this is a common work ethics.
Yeah, I think so as well. Are you afraid sometimes that maybe another potential con for this kind of software is, especially at the beginning, if you're not checking it well, that some kind of context might be lost or misinterpreted?
Definitely.
Did that happen to you?
At this point, I cannot recall, but sometimes I can see that it makes minor mistakes. For example, it's not the context in general that everything is just not true, but sometimes some words, some keywords are wrong. But these keywords are really important for our job.
Yeah.
So sometimes they are wrong, but you have to check that. That's why I said you have to always cross-check what the AI has created, because it makes mistakes. It's not perfect. And if you're just downloading, saving, using that in your process, then it's like just like a long snail of mistakes that is going to be passed on to your colleagues, to everybody else. And it's a higher possibility to make even greater mistakes. So I wouldn't say that I had the experience of the whole context being missed, but sometimes some keywords and some key points were a little bit off, so I had to change that.
Yeah. So we could summarize and say, if you do a good implementation and try to feed it as soon as possible with reliable information or with some prompts that you think that you will be using in the future, then you're at the good point of starting with a good, well-prepared AI tool. And another thing, definitely be aware of not choosing the cheapest one. Be aware of choosing something that you're reliable and safe with your data with as well. And where you can really, without any concerns, tell your partners that you're using a GDPR safe tool that nobody really needs to worry about. And in the end, I think it's just about the usage and the way you use it, and that you actually use it and to your advantage, and not just have it, oh, it's a nice tool that we have, and then in
because
the end,
everybody else is using
take
that,
everything else. Yeah,
I do have a Notetaker, but I'm not using any features out of that.
It's really a good benefit to have it and to really try to be there, focused on what you're going to get as an output from there.
Yep.
The good thing, I'm using it for my sales meetings and sometimes for the briefings with the clients, especially after I took over some of the projects. So I had to get into the topic again. And it was really easy for me to get back on track after just looking into some summaries of previous briefings with clients. Or after I have a briefing with a client and I really just want to have a short summary as a reminder for everything, I just take it out of the note taker.
Yeah.
So it really never misses the key points. That's what I'm really happy about.
Yeah.
But the key points are really good all the time whenever I see a transcription.
That's true. That's true. But it's also quite helpful, as you said, if you have to take over something, if you have a colleague that needs to jump onto a project or onboarding on whatever. And it's also sometimes when you do your job and then I'm going to get a new project, it's always nice to see, hey, I know everything. I know what you spoke about. I know what is discussed. I know what my job is. But I really want to see what the atmosphere was. And I can always return to your calls and see, hey, these people are super friendly, easygoing, and so on. This is something that I can implement in my introduction and everything when I'm starting my project. So
that's a really good thing. When you do rely on me as being a competent person who will do a good sales pitch. But in the end, sometimes I just forget to give you as a strategist all the information. So this is really a kind of source where you, the person who's going to implement the project with the BDRs, have another round of safety, because you kind of meet the people again in at least a short overview of what has happened, and you get some of the information that I maybe forgot to get.
Always. It's always a situation when somebody is going to forget something, but thankfully AI doesn't forget and everything is inside, so it can help you.
I have a little game again as a do or don't game. And I have a little bit of scenarios from the AI tool prepared. Okay, so you can tell me if that's rather a do or a don't for you.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, this one. I think this is really obvious, but let's discuss it. Share a raw AI transcript with a customer without reviewing it first.
Yeah, right.
Really.
It's like, if somebody does that, please don't. Please don't.
That's really, really, really dangerous.
That is really dangerous, yeah.
Because it can be dangerous in that matter that their name was wrongly transcribed. And then you just, you send it over to them, they'll be like, they are really fuzzy.
Yeah.
They're not really doing any overviews of things that they're writing or doing. So
exactly. Maybe you don't need to send something. Of course, you're going to, for example, have a chit chat before you enter any kind of serious topics. So do you want to send out summary of your chit chat also?
Definitely
really,
not.
That's not really important.
Maybe it was something that wasn't really something that you should have told in the first place. And maybe if you just send it over, it was like, okay, now they reminded me again of how stupid I sounded.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, use AI transcripts to train new BDRs on sales call techniques.
Yes, definitely. I mean, that's one feature and one benefit that you can really, really use to build something new, something extra to use in your onboardings, to everything. So if you are not using that, you're kind of missing the point.
The point, yeah. Another thing we talked about already, but let's just put it into everybody's mind again. Skip note-taking entirely because AI transcripts exist.
Yeah, don't over-rely definitely on the AI. Please do active listening. Please take notes. You don't have to write all the time. Be here, be aware, and use AI smart.
Okay. Another suggestion to do or not to do. Highlight key customer objections from AI transcripts during team meetings.
During, what do you mean highlighting?
Like when somebody in a transcript customer said, obviously that's an objection, and the AI recognized it as something that you should implement in something else.
Well, if it emphasizes something really important, then of course you are going to use that. I'm missing the point. It's quite obvious. If you have some if you have some key points, then definitely you should use that.
The thing is, I think the important part here was to discuss it with the team in a huddle, in a meeting or whatever. Yeah. Okay, store AI transcripts without consent from meeting participants.
Well, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Just work ethics.
Yeah.
If this is really not something you want to be done on yourself, so don't do this to others.
That's right. Another thing we discussed already, but let's talk about it again. Use transcripts to analyze and improve your sales pitch.
Most definitely. This is also one really, really big feature and one huge benefit, how to use everything that you have. So you can really see divided on different phases where you used something. Okay, this phase looks fine. This phase needs to be tweaked a little bit. I don't like this. It doesn't roll my dice. So I really want to change that. So it is quite useful for you to just go through like a third person overview and just create something new and better out of that.
Okay. I fully agree with you.
I know you would.
Another one, not a last one, we have two more. Let AI decide to follow-ups without human judgment.
Always human judgment combined with AI is the equation for something really good. So we are already back to over-relying on AI. So whatever you're using, if it's a Notetaker, ChatGPT, whatever, enrichment of data or whatever, don't over-rely on it. You have to always just jump into it.
Be judgmental. Be judgmental all the time.
Of course.
Okay, compare AI insights versus your memory of the call for accuracy check.
Well, from my
maybe
perspective,
at the beginning.
Yeah. From my perspective, it was really, really important at the beginning to cross-check everything, to read everything, to see if the transcripts were okay, to see if AI missed something really important. But after a while, you can realize that it's not going to miss really important key points, especially if in your conversation something is emphasized multiple times. It's not that stupid. He's going to recognize, okay, this is really, really important, and let's highlight that. But as I said, you will always have to oversee what has been done, maybe add something, maybe exclude something that is really important to go through, and then at the end, having the end product and use that for anything that you want. Is it in your sales process, onboarding, just like a quick overview of the task you need to be created or done. So it's really important to just combine human interaction, your own interaction with anything that AI created or summarized or collected.
Yeah, I agree. I think we covered the topic fully, or at least the most important parts. If you could summarize it just for our viewers and listeners, what would be like the 3 top features of using an AI transcript?
I would say, for example, not only features, but if you're thinking of choosing AI as a note taker, as a tool that is going to record and collect information for you, choose wisely. It is quite important to choose something that is working pretty well. Use the time at the beginning to feed this AI with your own ideas, with your own expectations. Be a little bit patient with that, because it's going to learn over time what you really need and what kind of information you would really like to see. So this is something that I would definitely recommend. When you chose the right tool, don't just ignore that and rely on that because you're going to get everything if you need at a certain moment, but really use that information for something else that can really help boost your sales, your pitches, your CRM, your follow-up tasks, anything that can really enrich your data and move you towards your goal a little bit faster, because this is the whole goal of using AI, any kind of AI. So I would also say that. And the most important thing, always say that you are going to record, because this is not really something that you should do without the consent.
Yeah.
As I said, don't do it if you don't want to do. If you want to see that for yourself, that somebody is doing that to you, don't do that to others. It's really a work ethics topic that if somebody is not okay with that, it's fine. Just cancel that and use your own common sense, use your own handwritten notes, and that's all.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for clarifying this. Thank you for giving your insights into this really important topic. I would definitely say we can highly recommend using AI tools for transcripting your meetings. It's going to make your life much more easier if you're in sales or if you're in any other kind of business where you have a lot of online meetings. It's going to help you way more than you can imagine and give you the focus to give you the time and means to focus on stuff that's more important than just writing down notes and summarizing your meeting so far. This was the 29th episode of Dialing Out the OB2P podcast with Anna Maria. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
If you are listening or looking into this episode, Anna Maria is available on LinkedIn. So if you want to connect with her, you can do that. I'm there too. Feel free to do so. Subscribe, comment, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Share this video with your
and come again.
Dear colleagues who don't know whether they should implement something like this or not.
That's true.
Yeah.
We recommend it.
That's it. See you soon. Bye.